Welcome to Security Highlights at DornerWorks. My name is Nathaniel Dick. I'm the Senior Security and IT Manager at DornerWorks. This is our first episode for 2023. I'm really excited for this year's content. We're going to be bringing you cybersecurity related topics all year round, centered around software development and integrating cybersecurity best practices, and that and other IT topics. Today, our main topic is going to explore some of the emerging 2023 trends in cybersecurity and more. One of the trends, we mentioned it before on the podcast, but continuing to see this more and more, and probably going to see more adoption by ourselves as an organization and other organizations as well, is the concept called zero trust. So, zero trust is pretty simple. Nothing is ever trusted. Borrowing from O'Reilly.com software blog is a good blog out there. There's a few aspects that are in a zero trust network. One of them is a network. Anything on the network is always assumed to be hostile. Any event, anything on that network. External and internal threats exist on the network at all times. Another one is network locality is not sufficient for deciding trust in a network. So even if you're in your location, your company's location, that trust is not going to be verified until you actually authenticate. So it's this constant authentication and trust. Another aspect of a zero trust network is that every endpoint, so a device, a user, a network flow, has to be authenticated and authorized. So this can come in a variety of ways. Maybe multi-factor authentication, somehow tying with a certificate. There's a lot of different ways this occurs. And the final aspect of a zero trust network is policies must be dynamic and calculated from as many sources of data as possible. So these are all the aspects of a zero trust network. And there's a lot of benefits because if somebody is able to gain access to that network, now they have to actually authenticate, so their geographical location doesn't just give them that access to the network. So it's a way to increase trust and confidentiality and integrity of a network, or we call it the CIA Triad, or the confidentiality, integrity, and availability on a network. So it's a continuing emerging trend in cybersecurity, and one that we're going to be continuing to take advantage of at DornerWorks in our information system and how we develop our products. Another trend, and borrowing this from some of the bank info security websites, they've got a good blog out there on some of the 2023 emerging trends, is API vulnerabilities. So according to researchers from Gartner, Comcast, and others out there, this one's going to continue to be a trend that hackers are going to take advantage of. And as systems continue to integrate together, APIs are really valuable. So an API is the ability to use different endpoints to interact with systems, and hackers can use this to their advantage because APIs are developed, systems are integrated. Sometimes things are security holes are created inadvertently, and so it's important for us as developers to really pay attention to how we integrate security into all our aspects of development. And so we're going to continue to see that as a increasing threat out there as in 2023. Another threat that I think we're going to continue to see, and this is from what researchers are pointing out, is multi-factor authentication fatigue attacks. So we saw that one in 2022 September timeframe last year, where the Uber attack was they were able to gain access to the organization, pretty significant access, by using what's called a multi-factor authentication fatigue attack. And so these hackers were able to continuing to ping people with authorization until they approved the authentication or multi-factor authentication request, and thereby the hacker was able to gain access to the network. So multi-factor authentication is still very valuable, and we should be continuing to keep adding it to our systems. But we're seeing now some vulnerabilities emerge, and that's going to be continuing a trend in cybersecurity. One of the ways that you can start to take some of that back, some of that risk, is by adding some context information. When a prompt on your phone pops up, maybe it adds a geographical location. So you can say, okay, it looks like I'm logging in from Grand Rapids, Michigan. It looks good. You can even see maybe the area of the state you're logging in from. And so you can be more assured that it's you actually requesting a login. So somebody might log in from Texas and you're not even in Texas, and that you can verify that prompt is somebody trying to spoof you and get in access. So that's going to be continuing emerging trend. Another one that we're probably going to see out there more and more, and part of this is just because of some of the continuing threats and people are starting to pay more attention to it, is increased regulation. So we saw that with FTX and the cryptocurrency. Regulators are continuing to apply pressure to organizations to make sure that they have these regulations and cybersecurity best practices in place. We also see this with the cybersecurity maturity model at CMMC, and we're probably going to start to see that more and more appear in federal contracts. We also have medical device frameworks that are continuing to be adopted, and we'll continue to see that with different products that we develop as well. So these trends all highlight a lot of different emerging threats and different opportunities an organization can leverage. And so we're really excited to continue to highlight cybersecurity content at areas all year round. And if you'd like to learn more about how we do this at DornerWorks, please contact us and keep subscribed to the DornerWorks YouTube channel. We hope to have some really great guests this year from our talented DornerWorks engineering staff and from other industry leaders. If you have any suggestions or feedback for this podcast, please send us an email to podcast@dornerworks.com. Thanks, and for now, stay cyber safe.